Recording in progress.
And the room is unmuted. Yes, would you like me to move over to panelists?
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay. So Ted, Brandon, moving you to panelists, can you please rejoin. There's also Colt Brown.
Oh, yeah, that would be nice and cold.
He's also from F&B.
Yes, so we can meet him. And did you say Michael too?
No, Michael, just Ted. Ted,
Hmm.
Brandon, and Colt. Colt, please rejoin as a panelist. Okay, ready whenever you are, Kelly.
Oh, turn the microphone up. Please turn your microphones on, and then when you speak, I don't think you'll be able to still hear us from the back, room, but, so speak loudly. Okay, so let's, bring this, meeting to order. Welcome to the Loch Alpine Sanitary Authority Board Meeting, September 15th, 2025 at 3 p.m. Let's see, Clerk Flintoff, could you call the roll, please?
Sure. Dorney,
Here.
Brevant,
Here.
D'Angelo, absent, Harms,
Here.
Flintoff, here, Carrie,
Present.
Yapel, absent. We have quorum.
Yeah, thank you. Adoption of the agenda. Are there any additions or suggestions?
Yes, J9, proposed changes to regular schedule of lots board and lots operating meeting. I believe it was Dorney and Carrie that wanted monthly meetings for. Are we doing minutes? Sorry.
No. If any additions to the agenda or changes?
May we speak about the Andrea Lucan backup?
I would make a, per the request of our, sorry, Jillian, why don't you answer that question first?
Right, yes, per the request of our attorney, we have not heard back yet from our attorneys.
Do we have a date to do this?
We have to wait for our attorneys to let us know. And then we'll call it a meeting if we need to, or include it in the next, no, not that, when's the next? I don't remember when the next board meeting is scheduled. I think
We got a lot of people from Loch Alpine here who are waiting.
They ought to be here today, right? Usually on the.
I'm
road.
sorry, it was not on the agenda and I was not aware of it. The only thing I know,
Speak for 5 minutes.
yes, during public
Yeah,
comments.
one-
Right now, we're
yeah.
trying to adopt the agenda. Are there any additions to,
We'll speak about the F&B permit.
would you like to add that to the agenda?
We can add it to the agenda, or I can discuss it under operations committees. It's your call.
Well, I have a suggestion. How about we, in between H4 and H5, include that? So let's just call that H4A. And what did you want to discuss?
The contract from 2020, we've been having continual disputes regarding distribution and collection system about what's out of scope and what's in scope. And I think I found something in the contract, which I briefly discussed with, Matt Jane, that we need to flesh out. We need to get that right.
So discussion of F&B contract?
Yes, please.
Okay, actually, you know what, that would be, let's put that under J2, under new business then.
Okay,
Anything else?
I have an item,
Sure.
okay? Per the request of our attorney, I would like to add an item to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute. And that would presumably, if the board agreed, would be in closed session.
To include a closed session today?
Yes,
You're requesting closed session? Okay, good.
wherever you think best.
Well, let's,
It would involve our attorney, Matt Jane. So
well, how about after J2?
if we're going to close session, can we talk about the Andrea Lucan case while we're in closed session?
this, I'm making, my motion is to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute with our attorney.
And can I make a motion to discuss my further concerns also about Andrea Lucan during the closed session? I know that won't be the final say since we haven't heard from the all of the lawyers, but I would like to talk to the board.
So in terms of just backing up, I'm not trying to be evasive. I'm just trying to respect the,
I know there's some
Rules.
things. We have to follow the, the rules of,
sure. So what we discuss in closed session has to be within the authority we have for going into closed session. So my understanding is that there's a memo from our attorney. And so any consideration, any discussion we have would be limited to the contents of that memo. There are no decisions made in closed session. Certainly any decision we make, we do in open session. He has it,
Prepared to present it in closed session.
Okay.
he has it with him right now.
Got it. I was just.
Yeah, we haven't received it.
Well, I don't know what this is regarding. I can assume there's, because we're doing a lot of things, so, in closed session, I guess you can bring up what you want, and if it's something that we can't talk about, then our attorney will let us know.
okay.
Okay? Okay, let's, J3 closed session at the end of new business, if that's acceptable. Then people don't have to wait except for our attorney. Okay, anything else should be included?
Well, the only thing, like I brought up earlier to you, Jillian, our attorney responded about the memo of understanding and the policies, the cash receipting and accounts pay. So we're gonna have to, I'm not prepared to talk about those. I don't know where we're gonna go from what his comments were. So I don't know that those are gonna go anywhere today.
I just talked to him this morning and on the policies and the MOU that are in there and have a black line for the board to discuss.
So you talked to
Matt-
Webster Township's attorney?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was talking,
that-
no,
you're
I was
talking about-
talking,
Yeah, I'm
Webster
talking
Township
about
attorney.
Webster's.
no
attorney.
problem. I got you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I
Okay.
spoke with Matt Jane this morning, so happy to do whatever. If there's any room for discussion to at least illuminate some of the issues, that'd be great. Understand if there's, no action.
How about if we do this, we change H1 from possible action to discussion? Then it's just a discussion and we won't,
I
Okay.
think that's a good idea.
Yeah. And maybe all three of those, Jillian, both the policies and the MOU?
H1, H2,
Yeah. H1 and H2.
and okay, so then H3,
I'm sorry, it's just H1 and H2.
Okay.
H2 contains both those policies.
okay, that's fine. All right, anything else? Is there a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
I second.
Okay, do you have that?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Opposed.
None?
Not opposed.
Wait, no,
Not
no.
opposed. I'm sorry.
So it's, motion passes, agenda is adopted 5-0.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, that broke the ice. Feels better. Okay, now is the time for public comments. This is the time for members of the public to speak to the LASA board for up to 5 minutes on any matter. Could you, sure, come to the table, please. If you want to sit or stand, it's up to you, whatever you feel.
Yeah, my name is Bernie Lüken. I'm Andrea's husband. By training, I'm a mechanical engineer. And I'm used to dealing, I work all over North America, Mexico, USA, Canada, and I'm used to dealing with major technical issues on a weekly basis. So it has left me relatively not, normal, but my wife has been suffering. I've seen her suffer, the last months quite a bit here. To make this short, we all know we're in a sanitary area here, right? We know about excrements. What do you think, how much excrement does a family of 3 produce in 24 hours? We can all imagine the 3 piles, right? Let's do that real quick. And then how do we explain this much of solid excrement in our basement? Not even talking about the volume. I will explain this, it's impossible. Now, the first time we have a written letter here, an acknowledgement that even somebody was, until now it was just hush hush and nothing, it's horrible. My wife has been suffering. Take this serious, please. So finally we get a letter from Sedgwick Insurance. And they say, yeah, it was wipes. Okay. On the other explanation was that an expert, we will hopefully be able to speak more fast. I may keep it short. That they pushed the obstruction into the main, right? So if that would have happened, wonderful. Then we would have had our own deal with our own excrement. Fine, I deal with that. Fine, but that didn't. The basement flooded, and I had at 2 o'clock in the night. I hammered out the doorstep with a major hammer and open the door so that the water can flow out. But by next morning, of course, people had showers again, went to the bathroom. When I finally had a major meeting, when I came back, there was this much excrement on the floor, and unexplainable if that would be ours. So those are the pure facts. Anybody should understand that. Cannot be our own excrement. And how much water? 5 minutes. So could you speak to that? That's all I have to say.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No.
I am very sorry this has happened to you, and I want a quick resolution for, you as a fellow resident of Black Alpine, as fast as we can. Sorry, this is not quick.
Understood. But at least we could have said, hey, we understand it, what she has experienced right now is just refusal, denial, never happened. It's your own excrement. And I'm working out there in the field and have to look at that. And it's painful for me. I deal with it every week. I'm fine, I can take it. But she has been suffering mentally. It's not fun, I tell you. That is actually for me the most struggling. So, sorry.
So my name's Adam. I'm the operations manager at Michigan Power Routing. And I'm here on their behalf just to give some insight on what us as a company observed when we got there. When our technicians arrived to their residence, there was already 5 to 6 inches of water in the basement. As seen, there is video of it rushing out the back door. There are a couple of discrepancies. I have a copy of the letter from Sedgwick. There are a couple of discrepancies in there that I'd like you guys to take note of. First, they say that our technicians on site said to the excavators that we had said that her service lead was broken. At no time did any of the technicians say to the excavator that her sewer lead or her sewer line was broken. I have 3 different reports on 3 different occasions where we televised her sewer line, showing that it is completely intact. The last one of which was a month after the backup. Further, the only thing that I would challenge with the insurance company is saying that they caused the backup. Or they caused the backup and we may have pushed something into the sewer. That to me, that is a discrepancy on their part, because their basement already had 5 to 6 inches of water in it before we began work. Water was observed still coming up through the floor drain by the technicians on site. The technician on site cleaned that line 130 feet. I have 3 different occasions stating that their line is only 112 feet long. The technician on site located at 130 feet in the road, which showed and it was marked with paint, showing the camera traveling up the street towards a buried manhole, which supposedly was known to be buried. And in the video that I saw provided by the Lukens, that was admitted on video by the contractors that were on site when they were there. So I just wanted to clear that up, is that there are discrepancies in their findings. And I have paperwork on their behalf to prove that, one, there's no way to prove that they specifically caused that backup. And I have proof that their line is 112 feet long, and proof that the plug was indeed in the private sewer for Loch Alpine.
Collection system.
Collection system. But yes, and if anybody needs to see any of those, I'm more than happy to provide it to you. So, do you guys have any questions?
Thank you for your very clear presentation.
Thank you.
Adam, what is your last name?
Carman, C-A-R-M-A-N.
And
Thank you, Adam.
I do appreciate you coming here. Like I appreciated Stephen DeWolf coming here when at the first meeting. I'm very grateful you came and spoke to us.
Absolutely. And if, at the next meeting, if a representative if you would like a representative of my company to be there, I'd be more than happy on the second meeting whenever that occurs.
Thank you.
I'm Andrea Lukin. I asked my neighbors to be here today. Because I have, just for their benefit, like I said before, I'm willing to help write something. I want to help this to not happen to anyone else again. And there's a difference between what a puddle of ours would look like and what probably 30 houses worth of sewage looks like. And basically, I'm beyond frustrated. I just want the right thing to happen. And historically, LASA does not have a reputation for doing maintenance, taking care of customer complaints. One of my neighbors has lived in Loch Alpine since 1967. I think she saw her fire hydrant flushed maybe 30 years ago. And when M&K came and jetted the tree trunk out of the main line, my neighbor across the street, who's also had problems with LASA, could feel her house shake. So it took a long time for that tree root to get in there. And I'll keep coming until this is done. And I would just want to see maintenance happen on a regular basis. I would also like for all of our neighbors to know that they're gonna have a 7% increase in cost. because we pay some of the highest rates in the state of Michigan, and I expect some level of quality to go with that, and we are not getting that. So just trying to make the world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you.
Anyone else present would like to speak?
My name is Bob Sendra. I'm a Loch Alpine resident for about 50 years. I'm also on the Loch Alpine Improvement Association Board. I do not represent the board today. I represent, in my mind, the residents that live there and have been served by the Sanitary Authority. I understand the facts. I have heard everything that's gone on, everything that's been said by the resident, by DeWolf, by power rotting. And I feel that there was a certain amount of negligence there in not keeping a regular system going to inspect and remove the obstructions. Knowing that, I cannot understand how the Sanitary Authority cannot be responsible. Whether they want to pass it down to the contractor, that's up to them, but the contractor, in my mind, cannot cancel the benefit to the resident who's lost so much money and time and energy and emotionality. So we count on the Sanitary Authority to do the right thing. They have for many, many years, and we thank you for that.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. Bob. I know you're here as a private citizen, but at the operations committee, wait. I know you're here as a private citizen today, but on the operations committee, we brought up the shared duties list, and we want to get with you at a future date to talk about trying to coordinate roads and roads and, us keeping our valves and manholes clear. Can we do that at another time? I'll arrange it later.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for being here today.
Soon you'll get a letter regarding our thoughts on the sewer maintenance issues and the board president reviews it and signs it.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I guess so. Hi.
Hi, my name is Brian Cole. I am Vice President of the Loch Alpine Improvement Association.
Hi, Brian.
My colleague Bob, I'm here in a private capacity today. Something that hasn't been mentioned is the fact that LASA is us. It's a small utility of 500 and some homes, 452 of which are in Loch Alpine proper. We are your constituents, we are your residents, we are your customers. And while everyone wants to keep our insurance rates low, and we all know that insurance companies deny claims, the fact of the matter is that we expect the LASA board to prioritize administrative issues and communication with residents, preventive maintenance, keeping contractors accountable, governing them. These are the things that are important to us so that we can continue to have decent water service, decent sewage removal at reasonable rates. And I do indeed believe that there is a better, more constructive way forward rather than using lawyers and insurance companies to not do the right thing in a case where we, at least the neighbors I speak to, feel pretty firmly that this is not the Lucas fault. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you.
Anyone else present? Okay. Clerk Flintoff, could you check online, please?
If you'd like to speak via Zoom, please raise your hand. First up is Rob Pattinson. Hi, Rob.
Thank you. Rob Pattinson, Scioto Township resident, not a resident of LASA, but a concerned citizen. Thank you very much to the Lucan family for finally bringing information to the board that the insurance company believes that it's their fault. I don't think any of us are surprised that the insurance company told them to wait 90 days for the investigation. We're now about 130 days in, and we finally find out that the insurance company believes that the Lucan family is responsible for somewhere between 4,000 and 10,000 gallons of sewage flowing through their home. I believe that's unforgivable. Last week's operations committee meeting showed that there are some significant gaps in the management of the contractor by LASA and in the contract with the utilities contractor F&V, where several times during that meeting, they said it was beyond the scope of the contract. And it seems to me that LASA needs to reassess its contract with F&V and reassess its management of that contract and of F&V. I've got some other questions. What relief venting or safety measures do the engineers and F&V recommend to add to the sewer lines to prevent sewage from filling residents' basements in the future? Are one-way valves at each home an option to prevent backflow into the basements? So there's a technical question for the engineers and for F&V. I hope they will have an answer for us today. And just once again, thank you very much to the Lukens for letting us know what the insurance has said. And I strongly urge this board to bring some resolution to this family. We're 4.5 months in for them living through this. Obviously, it's an emotional strain. And as the representatives of this community, you owe them some resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Rob, and thank you for watching the operations meeting.
I see no other hands. Jillian?
Okay. Thank you. Let's move on to the approval of the minutes. We have F1, approval of draft minutes of the LASA Board special meeting on August 21st, 2025.
Okay, may I make a change for J9?
Well, you keep saying J9.
J9, it was under proposed changes of regular schedule of Black and Black Alpine, last word.
But
August 21st meeting,
On the
J9 on it.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
What's the proposed change?
Sorry, I
Yeah.
got confused there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought- yeah.
Okay, we changed the operations date so, Webster could attend. But we did not increase the amount of, meetings for the operations committee. Dorney and Carrie wanted monthly meetings for the,
Yeah.
for the operations committee,
think-
but we just changed the dates, at least for this year.
Yeah,
Guys be here.
I know we all wanted that. That's why, but when I, because I checked my notes and when I reviewed the video, we didn't actually state that in the last meeting. And that's why I know then at your operating committee, you guys discussed it. So I just checked with Jillian this morning. I was like, hey, what are the monthly dates for the operating committee? So I could get them on the website. But Jillian said that the board needs to approve those.
Yeah, so we did
Okay.
with the operations, we agreed
So-
monthly and at 1 o'clock on Thursdays, but we didn't set a schedule.
Yeah, and the
Right, so
minutes,
we need the board to agree to that because, well, there's there's a couple of us on the operations, but the rest of us have to agree. So if we've, okay, let's,
and I, I think in the past, the operating committee has set meetings. I think it's themselves, which is what I assumed they would do. If we want to adopt them by the board, then I would just suggest just adding that to today and just,
let's add that under H4, but yeah, I
Yeah,
just wanted to make sure that that everybody is on the same page. moving
Absolutely.
forward. So we're trying to revamp LASA to have better,
yeah,
everything.
I think it's great that the operating committee is meeting. Are there any other changes to the minutes?
I don't. Is there a motion to adopt the August 21st minutes?
I would move to accept the minutes of August 21st special meeting.
Hey, is there support, a second? It's in my head, just my mouth isn't allowing me to.
I'll support.
You'll support, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? None? Minutes are adopted for August 21st. 5-0. Okay, good. Let's move on to F2, approval of draft minutes of the LASA Board special meeting on August 25th. Are there any?
I have no comment.
Is there support? Or wait, you have no comment. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve special meeting of August 25th minutes.
I'll second.
You'll second that. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes for August 25th are approved, 5-0. Moving on to reports. Ted Erickson, our engineer from IMEG. He,
Hi, Ted, you wanna turn on your camera?
Yeah, sorry, I'm struggling with the Zoom a little bit. Can't get it to get in front of me, but oh well.
Ted,
Yes,
could you turn your volume up, or could we, or is this, I don't know where that's coming from.
that better?
Oh, yes, much better. Thank you.
All right, so we talked at the operations committee meeting about the tower. We received one bid in the amount of 126,300. The operations committee elected to move that forward, and we'll have a letter of recommendation at the October 6th board meeting. IMEG is moving forward on the Wellhouse 2 generator package. We were out there last week doing a fact-finding mission, and we'll have a package for that here coming soon. The other thing is we discussed GIS. We can help. We did a little presentation showing how we can get GIS information on your phone or a computer, and how that might help operations a little bit. We're going to bring a proposal together for the October 6th meeting again. Those are my updates.
Thank you, Ted. Okay. Brandon and Colt. Brandon Damon and Colt Brown from F&V.
Just Brandon here.
Oh, okay, Colt. I was hoping we could meet him.
I thought he was on as an attendee.
He is.
Is he's still there? Just
Hi, Cole.
There he is.
Hi, can you hear me?
yeah. Hi, Colt.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Well, Colt, you're new to LASA within the last month or so, maybe longer. Time is going by fast. But could you introduce yourself, please, to everyone here?
Yes, my name's Cole Brown. I have been working for F&B operations for approximately 4 years. Just the last couple months here at Loch, Alpine. Background, I served 9 years in the Army. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, a master's degree in environmental health or environmental policy and management. This plant is a little bit different than the other one, so I'm learning a lot there, but I really enjoy the community and enjoy working with Brandon. So
Yeah, thank you. I'm hearing good things about you from not just Brandon, but also residents.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Colt's been a great help. He's been knocking out lead and copper samples left and right. We will be finishing that up here shortly. We did get back finally the reports from the well stuff today, the well pump testing. Looking at that, there's a couple recommendations that I asked them to give us some quotes on. for replacement of some flow meters out at the wells. And the update from Monroe Heating and Plumbing, that equipment has been ordered and they should be able to do the install about mid-October for the air handler unit in the raw building. Let's see. It's here. I think that's about all the the other update is the recirculation pump for the backup recirculation pump for the wastewater treatment plant will be installed on Friday, the 19th. Professional pump finally got me a schedule.
Did they test all the wells, 1, 2, 3, or just one of them?
All three.
Okay. All right. Flow testing, I presume, as well?
Yes.
When was the last time they were our wells reconditioned? I don't remember.
Well number 3 pump was replaced, and I believe it would 22 or 23 without having it in front of me.
Okay, how about I ask you that at the future operations meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And sorry, Brandon, you said air handler unit will be installed in October?
Their tentative schedule is about mid-October.
Mid-October, okay. Great. All right. Well, I know we've had a few meetings here and there recently, so there's really not much to report in between because we only have short periods of time. But yeah, thank you so much for providing this. And Michael, you said it is or is not?
Not here.
Not, okay. We'll just wait till the next time, but he was gonna provide a short list of bills that have been paid. But he'll just make sure it'll be at the next meeting. Okay, so on to unfinished business. H1, discussion proposed MOU with Scioto Township for ongoing IT, cash receipting, and accounts payable services.
If I could ask for everybody's help, excuse me.
If I could ask for help, if you would each take one and pass it down, and we'll put one out for the public and our attorney as well. These are just updated drafts for H1 and H2.
Are there's 3 separate?
Oh, so you just took one off the top.
So there's 3 separate documents. The first one is the MOU we've discussed and reviewed. And the second item are both of the policies that go hand in hand. And I appreciate, just for discussion, Jeff, is it okay if I just give a quick overview of where this is at, and then we'll get Webster's input? So as folks know, LASA used to have all of its data on an unsecured laptop. We took care of that. It's all backed up through IT here at Scioto. So Scioto Township currently has an agreement with LASA where we have the LASA data and a segregated portion of our server supported by our IT team backed up, all secure. That was step 1. Step 2 is certainly Woodhill, from all reports, has provided a better, always room for improvement, but a much better experience for customers in terms of UB. As you know, we had about 100 estimated reads. We're down a lot from that, but for years we had estimated reads, and they'll continue to provide the UB, the utility billing. For decades, lots of customers come to Scioto Township, drop off the checks, and we're unable to receipt it in. So there's probably a lag. It takes too long, I would argue, for lots of customer checks to be cashed. So this proposed MOU would address both of those things. We've talked about it with Woodhill. They're going to be coming on site to talk more about the details. We had a goal of October 1st, but certainly we will push that back since there'll be no action today. The proposed agreement for services was drafted by Scioto Township Attorney and with all of our staff internally to Scioto, to outline the continuation of providing IT support to LASA, as well as in 1B, cash handling and receiving services, so that we can actually handle the cash, which is why the board approved the Bank of Ann Arbor at our last meeting, and 3, accounts payable services. The second 2 potential policies, which you received on August 21st, and again, these are my black line edits after a conversation with Decker, which is the LASA and Scioto Insurance Company, as well as the LASA attorney, just some potential changes. LASA, I found no adopted policy on either processing accounts payable or cash handling. And so, that was my first order of business, to make sure the money is, kind of formalize those policies. And then also for Scioto's perspective, if Scioto or a contractor or even Woodhill really, anybody who's handling money for LASA, we want to make sure that they're carrying it out in accordance with LASA policy. So that is the status, and I'll turn it over to Jeff or anyone else for an update on where they're at on them.
I have one question before Jeff. The agreement for service that you just passed out is different than the one that's in the packet?
Yeah, you'll see that it's black lined and says with the changes based on conversations with the LASA attorney and Decker. So they're marked at the top, that both of them say, and so all the black line
I
are the
see.
changes.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Thank you.
And I also ran the numbers for Scioto in terms of a proposed fee. As we know, the IT is really just kind of as needed, which now, since it's set up, is only kind of as things come up, if there's a, which is rare. And then for the cash handling and accounts payable, it would come out to $800 monthly, would be Scioto's proposal to LASA. And that covers most of, not all, but most of Scioto's costs. And it's something I can, Ryan and I have talked about it, and I can advocate for at our board.
Like I said, I just saw it and read it, and I know some of the stuff you may have addressed with some of the concerns that they had, which it was a lot more to deal with some of the specifics, like how much, when, who's responsible. There's some questions about, is it Scioto's personnel that's the IT, or is it a subcontractor for Scioto? You don't have to answer that. I mean, but these are some of the questions that were there that the attorney was concerned about. Some of that may have been addressed. So I think we just need to revisit to see what's different based on what you just handed out versus their concerns. And then the differences will get to you guys so we can meet somewhere in the middle and get that done.
Yeah, and I don't know if it'd be helpful for this board to, identify a few point people for a subcommittee to kind of push these through, kind of confer.
It might.
I don't know what people suggest.
The people that are absent.
mean.
Kidding.
So,
No, but
yeah.
I agree, Jess. I think
Yeah.
that's a really good idea, and maybe somebody from Webster, somebody from Scioto. Yeah.
I really think we should take a few minutes. It's like Jeff said, we literally just got the comments from our lawyer regarding the proposals. And so before we talk about putting people on a committee or anything else, let's take some time and go over that.
And see how far apart it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just say, I for one am, very, very open. The one major change from the version you saw on August 21st to today is in the proposed policy for processing accounts payable. LASA had a practice in the past of having the chair approve and then bring a list of paid claims to the board. And in discussions, I'd first included some version of that. In conversation with our LASA attorney, he recommends, and I think it's a good, more prudent suggestion to have all claims for payment come to the board for approval first, with limited exceptions, which I took my first stab at defining in the second paragraph there. So I'm sure that's similar to kind of how Webster does it. That's how SIO does it too.
Yeah, the issue with that is that the LASA board meets every 3 months, so if there's something that has to be done, then we have to wait until that meeting and to have it approved in order for it to
Yeah,
be
so it's
completed.
a policy conversation for this board. It's just our attorney, suggested, things like our regular fees for our regular contracted services, operator, engineer, consultants, legal fees, utilities, taxes, the regular stuff would automatically be paid. Anything outside of scope, outside of budget, anything like that, come to the board. We certainly could put in a provision about how to handle emergencies, but we also want to, limit the creation of any emergencies.
I do have a question. Website, does that fall under IT?
No. And as we've talked about, I think 3 times before, currently Woodhill does a great job of keeping the LASA Water website up. I would propose, as our IT people have suggested before, if the LASA board ever requested that SIO take on the website, that we would probably, incorporate it in our CMS and have a separate site, but manage it through our contract with Granicus. But I've never heard the board ask that. If that's something this board wants to ask, I can take it back.
Yeah, because if Woodhill is eventually, and it pretty soon, not doing our finances anymore.
I haven't heard that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are accounts payable, and then there's 2 things that we had talked about, but after they're
Tho-
finished with,
Sure.
then who's? And
So
we also have 3 web pages. That's the other thing,
So
and it
a-
gets a little
a
confusing.
couple clarifying things. If cash handling, accounts payable, IT were never in our contract with Woodhill. So with this, Woodhill would be carrying out the duties in their contract, not all of the additional things they've kindly been doing for LASA. To my knowledge, LASA has one website, LASA Water. Do you know of others?
Well, on the
There's-
LAIA board,
There's the LAIA board, there are several pages on the Sanitary
Yeah.
website for LASA.
Sure, and those are
And
SIOs.
saying, and it's the one that would look together.
Sure. So the only one that LASA pays for, that is our official website, is LASA Water. That's where customers are directed. Certainly if there's content that people can email me if there's content that's out of date on SIOs. I did give, Miko the code so that the LASA meetings pop up on the LASA Water page, as they do at Webster as well. But if there's any edits to make, let me know on the SIO website.
yeah, we'll have to review all 3, because if somebody goes to that site and then we have the other
Right.
2, we want to make sure that it's congruent.
I just want to make clear that we only have one website. What the Improvement Association says and what SIO says and what Webster says is each of those entities' responsibility. I agree, we need to get them cleaned up. No,
Webster has a site, but it's LASA is just mentioned in
Yeah.
it. It's not an independent LASA site.
Yeah.
I personally, I think that maybe we should just have links to refer back to one site
Mhm.
rather than any kind of regurgitation of information.
Yeah.
And then we'll make sure that one site gets updated so people know what to
Mhm.
do.
Absolutely.
yeah, I agree. I'll just say if there's anything that's inaccurate on the SIO website, let me know. I try to keep it minimal and refer to LASA Water for anything specific.
Yeah, and speaking of Woodhill contract, could you provide a copy of that to the board,
I'll s-
since we have a new board.
Sure, I'll send that out again.
Thank you.
I think it would be good too, and as we're getting and we're talking about roles and responsibilities. This is spread out all over the place and knowing who's doing what. And, you know, specifically, or we're looking at changing or having officially, you know, like SIO taking over or doing those duties and getting the official. So just knowing little buckets, you know, what does Woodford do for us? What does SIO do? What's Webster's responsibilities? Any of those kind of things. So we know with regards to that, even down to like talking to LAIA about coordination and who's possibly doing that. So we need to, as part of our process, we need to do that.
Or maybe an Excel
So-
file to begin and then.
Yeah,
whoever-
to begin what we know of and then go over it and then people can look at it and say, oh, what about this? And then figure out where it goes.
And I would just say, you know, something that SIO's always done is, you know, we're the address, we're the place. We've always taken in the money with no policy. And it's a delay for customers. You know, we have the checks. Certainly, the intention, and it's in no one's contract right now to provide cash receipting and AP. So I can't underscore that enough. You're asking who's doing what? So nobody's officially doing that. But Woodhill's been doing it, and Woodhill also created the website for us because we didn't have one, which was fantastic, and I thank them for it. They have been asking LASA to figure out a way to take those things that are outside of their contract off their plate. And so, you know, this is one idea. If there's others, you know.
And I mean, I think it's nice to, like, we could currently say this person or this entity is doing it, but it's not official or it's not in their contracts, and it would be nice to know those kind of things too, but we're looking at remedying some of that with what we have. So.
Okay, good.
So should I expect to hear from Webster when y'all have some time to review?
I would think so, yes.
We could, okay, no rush. Our next meeting is October 6th. That should give you enough time. That would be what, almost 3 weeks?
2.5, I think, yeah,
Yeah,
somewhere
around
around there.
Yes.
And the SIO board hasn't looked at this either, so we can do it in any order. Also, our insurance company, I'll pass it through them for another review per their request.
We definitely have that on September 30th. SIO meeting.
It depends. I'm of two minds. It's going to depend on how substantive the changes are from Webster. If it seems ready by the 30th, or I'll wait. So I'll wait and see what's coming.
But
I will let Woodhill know, ask that they continue past, they had, you know, asked, you know, had kind of set a target date of October 1, but I'll let them know that it'll be at least a while longer.
Yeah.
TBD.
okay. My agenda go. Oh, super. Okay. Let's see. Are we, anything else for H1 or H2? We're to H3. I guess I'm gonna sit. Ready to move on to H3? Yeah. Okay. H3, powers and duties of the operating committee.
This is what we've talked about before. As you know, the articles empower an operating committee to carry out some administrative duties. And so the idea is that we talk about it, set forth what those administrative duties are so we can fully utilize the operating committee. The first bullet points were just kind of a brainstorm based on past practice and documents. So, just thought we could spend some time hashing out what the powers and duties should be and document that in some way.
I think we should also be documenting, the power of the board. I mean, the duty of the board is to govern. The operations committee is for management because we don't really have a management team otherwise. We have, not only do we need to figure out what we want to do with the operations board, we need to know what we're doing with the board. They pulled further on page 26 and 27, or 25 through 27, they have one back when McNamee, sorry, not was still running the plant. And they list responsibilities and authorities for the members of the board, the chairman of the board secretary, and the operations committee. And the operations committee, I totally agree with everything on the list for the operations committee that's on that list. And that is far more complete than what you put down. But I also think we need to think about what the board's supposed to do. We have, when we've had things handled, like we get complaints in, right now it goes to the entire board. It really should be only going to the operations committee because guys really don't want to be dealing with rusty water complaints. You should leave the rusty water complaints if somebody is interested in actually solving rusty water complaints. And that's just messes up your inbox. I think the list that from, Matt, back, when they were running, the 2010 list is much better than the list you came up with, here, spitballing.
Okay.
I think that, the proposal, I think that's very well written out.
And I will just share. I appreciate, it may look like I was spitballing, but I did put a little more thought into it. But accepted that it looks like spitballing. I think the thing, I see it as pretty much the same, and we should add to it. We could take everything that's in this one under operating committee responsibility and add to it. I think the question of who approves bills will be sorted out by the accounts payable policy. I don't have a strong feeling about it. But in terms of like resolving issues on errors in billing related to defective meters or meter reading procedures in consultation with UB, I agree.
That should be Woodhill
and my question about reporting complaints about rusty water, I agree. I like that, about being kind of a liaison for people. My question is really about contractor compliance. So bullet 2 says oversee contractor compliance. I was trying to, I really think we need to talk about what that looks like. Certainly they're meeting with the operating committee regularly, but what other steps could we take to improve oversight of the contractors?
That's actually why I proposed, adding, the F&B contract, because I also agree that we need to oversee the contractors better. That's a very important point to me as well as you. I think we're probably gonna have to work on this list more.
Does somebody?
And I want to see the board, how he governs, threatened, also flushed out. So as well as, the operating committee. So, so we're not repeating things, the operation committee should do what they're going to do and then hand it on to the board or hand it down, one or the other. And then the board can do their job, which is governing.
I agree. I'm wondering if somebody wants to take a second stab in combining these lists or come back. I mean, ultimately, what we need is an adopted document by the board that specs some of these things out. So it can be a list that we adopt by motion. So does somebody else want to work on this?
Sure. Andrea, You want to work on it together? Um. Would you like to?
Yes, I'll do it. We're gonna, you wanna make a motion, or are we just
Well,
saying we're gonna do?
okay,
something?
so. Just, here's something, the board of trustees in a, let's just use general law township, because both of us are general law, come from general law. The board of trustees, they're the administration, the policy makers.
Mhm.
And then the operations would, as you said, management and whatnot, but they would not be able to make any policy changes or adoption or anything like that. They can make suggestions that would go to the board, and the board would ultimately.
Well, and I'd like to keep the, operations committee being able to schedule their own meetings, that would be great.
Yeah, and again, since we're kind of starting,
Yes.
I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Clerk Flintoff, you had something?
Sure. Yeah, I agree with your description, but certainly the articles lay out that the operating committee may carry out administrative functions on behalf of LASA. They're the only ones who can. So they're the only ones who are empowered to. And so they can do more than recommend. They can make, they can implement, they can make decisions as long as they're in harmony and not in conflict with any board policy. So I wouldn't, I mean, yeah, close to governance and management, that's not quite the split. It's really that the operating committee, in my mind, really is the only active one. No one of us is empowered to take administrative action on behalf of LASA, but the operating committee is. What administrative functions they're authorized to carry out to do is whatever we say as a board.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? So they're the active entity for LASA. They're the ones kind of carrying things out, not just recommending. It's different than a regular committee of a
Right.
township board.
Yes, it is.
And this would be a lot easier if we had a superintendent. Because then you could just have a board and a superintendent below, but we don't have a superintendent.
And that's an option, certainly LASA may, hire contractors, staff, anything else. I was just starting with the operating committee because that's what we had.
Tony? Oh, you were thinking, Jeff, do you have anything at this point?
No, the only thing I'd like to say is I do like the list, this one.
Right.
I mean, it may have, obviously there's changes that need to happen on it, but, and probably some tweaking, but, I think it's a good place to start. So.
Okay, is that, do we need a motion for that?
Just should I note, Dorney and Carrie will work on the powers and duties of the operating committee and bring back a second proposal?
Sure,
Correct.
we can do that by October 6th,
Okay.
or for the October 6th meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Oh, is there surprise?
it wasn't a motion.
Oh, there,
I was just stating.
Oh, you're just stating, okay.
Yeah, I think we're all.
Okay, that's fine. All right. All right, well, H4 was just the information from the undated proposal from the past that, with the list of duties and whatnot. So H5, and this is, we talked about this at the last meeting, one of the last two meetings, regarding the procedures for pay for LASA board or operating committee members. And Tony, you had, there was a discussion, and then I did have a conversation with you the other day and you wanted clarity on things. And so I did include your, oh, are you okay? Oh, that was your phone? Okay, I included your, and then Clerk Flintoff, you had an email that went out to everybody and I did. Okay. I didn't include it because it came in after the agenda was published, so.
I think it's really two questions. It's really how LASA wants to administer pay. Certainly, it was something SIO wasn't comfortable doing. And, you know, when we got into all that was involved with it, and so happy to talk to you offline about those details or here at the board table. As you know, I also got, I think what I sent out to the board, just so the board had it, you know, a estimate from, you know,
Yes.
ADP, you know, kind of a third party, which is a possibility. And so I really think, my opinion is the question is administration, and then some agreement with administration, and then dealing with the policy of it kind of separately. I would remind the board, and this was in my email, that our current articles authorize pay for LASA members, not operating committee members. The proposed revision would, but our current ones are for LASA members. And also currently, under our current articles of incorporation, which we have, there are only 3 members of the operating committee, and they are all members of this board. That makes sense? So it's okay, we've all acknowledged that we're working outside of our articles on that because we want more participation. But certainly there's no authorization in our articles currently for pay beyond the 7 members. And people have been paid through 2023. Again, Woodhill kind of carried it through that year. SIO, we thought we'd be able to take it on. We looked more into it, and there are reasons why we decided not to, mostly the liability of it. And so I would just, you know, say one idea is, you know, a contracted services. I'll just, you know, also the way we used to do it, LASA through its prior consultant before we brought on Woodhill was spending, you know, what, 30% of the actual total payroll on administering payroll. And so it became kind of silly, right? And so for a public board like this, my understanding of the law just is our planning commission ZBA, we have to be paid. If we're going to be paid, we have to be paid payroll, not 1099, not contractors, not stipends, which makes it a lot easier. But with payroll, of course, comes the quarterly reporting, and all of that. So that's why organizations go with contractors such as ADP. I sent out the quote for what they said for 10 people. You know, I spent 5 minutes getting the quote, so it's not refined, but it was sort of there out of the box, so we could get a sense of what it is.
What liability issues?
Yeah.
What liability issues are you concerned about?
So the reason in talking to internally to our staff and attorney and all, and why it hasn't been proposed in the MOU with SIO, and I've talked about this before, but it sounds on its face like not much work and not a big deal.
It is.
Right? And so, and it was in that spirit of trying to be helpful. You know, I'm much more comfortable taking on the cash handling and that liability than I am payroll. Okay, to give you some perspective.
Are you mostly concerned with the federal tax liabilities there?
So, yeah, so the tax liabilities, but also having been employees. They would not be employees of SIO, but in terms of any disputes about pay, I didn't want to be in the middle of that. I didn't want SIO to be in the middle of that.
Who, if LASA were to employ a third party, such as ADP or Paychex or one of the others, would they then take the responsibility?
Absolutely. And so they do all of the federal reporting, all of that, and they take on that. My understanding, and people here may know a lot more about it than I do, but that is why people outsource payroll, is partly to pay for somebody to carry that liability and understand all the current codes. You know, I mean, we're talking about, you know, $70 a meeting, you know, so again, cost benefit of how much we spend to administer payroll, which is why we've been in this unfortunate situation that we're in right now.
Yeah, in the budget, it was proposed from Woodhill to increase that rate, which we have not approved the budget, but haven't adopted.
Yeah, the board would have to separately authorize any change in pay rates, but I do think like how LASA would do payroll is
Mhm.
a first question.
How would they do it? That would be, what kind of a system do they have? And they have no system in place.
No, it was
They who, LASA.
Yeah, I think of that as us. We have no system in
We
place.
have no system. Okay, we have no system in place for payroll.
Right.
We have no system in place for cash receipting.
That's not accurate.
We don't. We are.
Woodhill, and
Okay.
no, SIO and Woodhill, it happens and it happens responsibly and regularly. It
Okay.
just could happen better.
Okay, I'm not casting aspersions. I'm just trying to get my head around the computer systems that might be there. That's what I'm
Oh, sure.
talking about. And LASA, LASA do not own a computer system for this kind of processing, correct?
LASA currently owns GL, UB, and AP modules of BSNA.
They do.
And those are the ones that we maintain
Mhm.
lovingly in a segregated space on our server here in SIO per the agreement. That's why your data is safe.
Mhm.
In Webster, do you typically use cash receipting for the cash receipting? So, LASA uses the UB module, MICO does that. But physically, there is a gap between when SIO securely captures, collects the checks, gets them to Michael to do the deposit, gets them to Michael to do the journalization. So that proposed cash receipting process, we would actually issue the receipts from the UB module, and it behaves very similarly to cash receipting. LASA had the payroll module and could restart that if we wanted to, but we decided to not pay for it because we weren't using it. But certainly, LASA could acquire that again.
Okay.
And then let's say that Tony Webster Township does take on payroll and we have the payroll, excuse me, module through BSNA, they would still have access, be able to have access, or how would that?
It would have to be, yes, that's a good question.
Yes.
Because it would have to integrate. I mean, if I'm thinking about the way
Mhm.
BSNA operates at Webster, everything integrates.
Yep.
So it automatically posts all the journal entries, et cetera, that the payroll system generates. So what are we thinking here? How is this, if SIO takes on the maintenance of all of the data for cash receipting and bill paying, AP and so on, how are we envisioning that this would work with payroll, with the payroll module?
So I am recommending ADP, but if the board wanted to, LASA could purchase again the payroll module. It would live in the LASA server, which is accessed via remote desktop. I even access it via remote desktop. Michael accesses it via remote desktop. Anyone that LASA employs or contracts with and directs to have access to would access it via remote desktop.
Okay.
It's all integrated. So
Who is the administrator?
you mean the BSNA?
Yes, of LASA's BSNA.
So currently it's Woodhill.
Woodhill is the administrator.
Because it was, we moved it from the unsecure computer and then shared the credentials through the MOU with our IT team.
I'll tell you what, let's find out, let's do a little cost comparison of what, for instance, ADP charges. I think that their quick, sort of
high.
quick and dirty bid was about 800. Okay. I know BSNA's maintenance fees are not cheap.
They're not.
And so we would have to, I would imagine guesstimate the number of employees we would want to cover.
7.
And 7 plus operating.
7 is what's allowed by our articles.
Okay, okay. And then compare the two. So I would recommend that this whole process be postponed till we gather some information. And I'll be glad, I've got to call BSNA for a number of other things. So I can sort of get with them on
Yeah.
what they might charge.
Thank you.
Of a, yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
And
I'm sorry. Tony, so could you work with Jessica on
Sure.
this?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll
Okay.
just make the phone calls, find out what they will cover, how much they will cost. And then bring it back for our 9th, again.
Yeah.
Our 9th. meeting.
And Tony also, and I presume you have, but also in terms of the doing the quarterly
Mhm.
reports and things, it is possible for you to include LASA as part of the Webster. It gets messy.
It gets.
And that's why I didn't
Mhm.
want to do it, Tony.
Yeah.
I mean, just for SIO's sake, we don't need to create completely avoidable problems between
Yes.
entities.
I agree. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Okay. Do you have anything else to include or questions? Nothing? All right, let's move on to J1. This is the presentation for our audit from Pepper, Hannaford, and Polka. Hi, John.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you for your
It's
patience.
okay. It was a learning experience. So, I want to start out by saying, again, I heard the Woodhill group a lot in that, and we've worked with them on various governmental units, and they do a good job, so, I have just the highest, as far as a recommendation for them, they do a great job, so you're working with them, it's really good. With that, what that does is that helps our audit go better. It helps it so we have very few adjustments. And what that means to us is that, with the Woodhill group involved, they're very good at also, working on different systems, as far as what you're talking about, the receipting and everything else. They've done a great job with a lot of our units, helping in that area, so that's good. With that said, I just have a couple brief comments.
Mhm.
It's okay. It's good. Thank you. All right, so can you hear me? Is that working? Okay, all right. So again, primarily what our job is to just give an opinion on your financial statements. Which the good news is we're giving you the highest level of opinion. It's called unmodified, which means that your financial statements are presented fairly. So when this report goes to the state of Michigan and hopefully you approve the audit report tonight, then the state of Michigan will look at it right away for that opinion. And that's very important for if you should decide to ever go out for bonding in the future, which is really good. So again, the unmodified opinion is really at the top. Also, I just wanted to mention during the year, you were able to maintain your fund balance, but every year is kind of hidden in your financial statements. But the good news is you continue to pay down your bonds payable, which last year you paid $250,000 on the principal. And so with that, you were able to maintain your cash balances and pay down that debt. So from a financial standpoint, again, also the state of Michigan would be looking at that. With that too, you also purchased new meters. You spent some money on the water tower project. And so again, during the year financially, you were able to stay strong. Another area that we look at too is as far as your overall investing. I kind of look at that from the standpoint, if I was a board member, that would be important to me. And I will tell you that you did a good job last year. You have over $1.3 million and you're able to earn $40,000 in interest income. So again, that interest income is important to help pay bills, like you're talking about, different things that, you know, you have, coming up expenditure wise and different things like that. And with that too, it was very secured. So, you know, we would be concerned if we didn't feel like your investments were, protected, and they are. So I kind of go out of the realm a little bit by making this comment, because I kind of, again, I look at it as if I was on the board, it'd be important for me to know that, you know, you have your investments protected for the authority. So, that's really good. And really, that was all I had today, because everything's in good shape. The only thing is, if you could approve the audit report, it has to be submitted to the state of Michigan, and we'll do that once you do.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you so much for this, and for Woodhill for everything they've done, making sure everything moves forward, and yeah, this is great and really good news.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be able to help you with this payroll questions that you're having, trying to work this out. They're very good to give you some suggestions on that.
Yeah.
You'd probably have to be careful on some internal control issues if Webster's doing that payroll, that kind of thing. So maybe doing that independent would be a good thing.
Mhm.
So, you know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Yep. So is there
Question.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you for your work. I wondered if, before we consider adopting, I just want to, there's a typo on the
Yep.
date of the letter, or it's dated October 6th.
Oh, okay.
And I just note that because I know that the state looks at the dates of letters.
Okay, yeah.
Is our audit due October 31 or 9/30?
No, actually, your audit is not due till 12/31.
Right.
12/31,
Yes,
okay.
July.
Then it's insignificant.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, Jillian, the letter that you signed on the top, it's dated October 6th
Okay.
and then signed September 3rd.
Oh, I think that was because Deirdre thought about our regular meeting was October 6th, and we've had, so this is actually earlier than what we.
It is. You guys are really early. This is good.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to create any
Usually I'm
questions
doing
for
this
the
in
state.
November.
Sure, if that date could be changed.
Okay, yeah, we will.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Is there a motion to, or unless there's other discussion? Nope, okay, is there a motion to approve the audit for 2025?
I'll make the motion to approve the audit as presented by Pfeffer, Hannaford, and Polka for 2025.
Okay,
Second.
all right. Let's do a roll call vote for this, please.
Dorney,
Aye.
Brevant,
Aye.
Harms,
Aye.
Flintoff, aye. Carrie,
Aye.
motion adopted 5-0.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
He's done to the state. He'll submit it.
Yeah. Unless you want.
And are qualified with her.
Kidding.
So
But
No,
what we
it's-
have to do.
it's just in our motion, we always authorize them to sue.
Oh.
the state.
Yeah, that's good form.
That's just,
Yeah.
and I wonder if this is,
Oh.
because it's an authority clause.
No.
No.
No, it's fine. We don't typically do it at SIO either, but you did the price for the government on that one.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. Okay.
It is fine.
So, I know we had J2 as F&B contract. Did we want to?
And you talked about a closed session.
Yeah, and I thought for some reason.
J2 is the contract.
Okay, let's just do the contract first.
Get the
Okay.
contract first. I mean, I
Well-
would like to look at the contract before I decide.
Yeah, I have the contract here. We can make it a discussion point for right now. Okay, as the gentleman on the internet said.
Oh, Rob Pattinson, resident.
Yes, for operating committees, we've been having problems with F&P regarding out of scope comments, and this weekend I went searching through the contract for reasons why we keep getting out of scope contracts so much. And under 1.04.3, it states non-routine maintenance is defined as any maintenance that is not required to be done more than frequently than annually, as such that change out of pumps, motors, special maintenance activities, or change out of motor starters and motor drives. The problem with this is that there are a lot of maintenance that isn't done annually. That still needs to be done, especially with the distribution and collection systems. For the distribution system, valve turning is, you're supposed to do all your valves in 5 years, and the valves that you're using for hydrant flushing for directional flow, you're using those two times a year. And basically, since we found out they weren't turning valves after the Prospect fire, we have gotten no help from them over, valves at all. And recently, since spring, when we found out, that they're not pulling manholes, I also found out that was also out of contract. You're supposed to be pulling manholes all the manholes at least every 2 years, plus the ones that you're concerned about, you do more frequently. And that was also out of scope. And that's, those are things that we need to do for a contract. To maintain our permit, and they are not in, our permit, our contract with F&V. That's the major one that I found. And we need to talk about this because, like with the tower, when the mud valve is repaired, you're supposed to go up there monthly to open the mud valve. That takes a 2-person team because of the safety issues, climbing up to the pole. And that's going to be out of scope because it's not annual. And we have coming up, when we are allowed, when we have paid for things off, and after we get approval for our new permit, we're going to be spending money on a new filter, and those filters are amazing maintenance hogs. You're going to be ending up with an extra person for that thing. Unless the tech gets better. But we're supposed to install a filter, for the Tyndall by 2048. And under current tech, they require a lot of maintenance. And by this definition, it's all out of scope. And that's going to be very expensive. I know we're in a waiting period with our permit right now during renewal. We're waiting for the biologists to decide if they're going to change our requirements for our permit. And if they change significantly, then we're going to have to, either change how we operate or do another building cycle, which is why I wanted to put off that until the biologists say what they're going to say. And then, and we could do it all at once. But, this is an issue because we're supposed to be taking care of our distribution system and our collection system, and the answer we get from F&P repeatedly is out of scope.
What sort of a contract do you have? You're from the city of Dexter. What sort of a contract, or do they employ their own people?
I am, for the utilities department. We have a utilities department of 6 people plus the superintendent, so that's a total of 7 people. Full time.
Okay.
Go on.
So I wonder, this is pretty elementary, just thinking about this. And we've asked F&V at least for the hydrant, the valve turning contract. I don't know if we've never considered.
Flushing twice a year is
Yeah.
specifically mentioned in the contract, but all these other issues are not
Right,
specifically mentioned.
right. So I'm wondering if the operating committee could spend some time either, I don't know, do we propose an RFP just for these extra services? Do we want to try to reopen the contract with F&V? Do we want to try to do some of this with staff, which I think is a whole different thing? But I wonder if the operating committee might look at, would it make sense to maybe come up with an RFP for these additional services, or do we want to renegotiate the entire contract, go out to bid?
I'm going to leave the renegotiation part to the lawyers, but I can write up a list that I think needs to be in here.
Well, no, I mean, it's up to the board, right? I mean, we employ, this is the oversight of the contractor, like,
I'm an operator, I can make a list of things that should be on here. I'm afraid that people who, know about contracts are gonna have to make the determination of what type this needs to be, because I don't know anything about contracts.
yeah, that's cool. I mean, I mean, it's great. You've got the operational knowledge. I'm just thinking that the board will then need to decide if we want to engage with F&B and try to renegotiate, go back out to the bid for the whole thing, or immediately we could go out to bid for some of these things if it's in our capital plan and budget.
And if they don't wanna do this stuff, there are other companies that do this. Michigan Pipe and Valve just announced that they're forming a company for valve turning. And they'll probably be doing hydrant flushing with it. And Michigan Pipe and Valve is a great company. I mean, we can, go to other companies to do the parts that they don't wanna do.
I agree.
And we, at the last operating committee, we talked about a few of these things and getting on schedule, and we had the one, what, no.
M&K.
It was M&K.
Yes.
All these acronyms, so we did have that quote, I mean, there's other things that, yeah.
M&K Jetting and Televising is
Jetting.
basically who's everybody is using right now for those kind of services. That was a very expensive quote. And basically Brandon slapped it down and said, here, my job's done. And left the management, how to make this, looking through our files and deciding what to do,
What do you
kind of
mean,
up to us.
what do you mean Brandon smacked it down? I didn't understand that.
Well, he gave it to us.
Well, okay,
at the last time.
let's be fair.
Right.
We've asked him to go back to F&B to ask for quotes for valve turning and the sewer televising, and he did repeatedly over and over again, and they didn't follow through. So he went out and found the M&K. And that's what we brought to the, now there's other companies out there, so
So, yeah, so if the management of F&D doesn't wanna do this part, we can find someone else to do this. With collections and distribution. If they don't wanna handle that, we could go, we just need to know, we have to go to somebody else, cause we need to do this, it's part of our permit.
okay, so here, yes, at the operations committee, meeting, the next one, we can talk about all of these. And also, if there's other things that we weren't even aware of until you just brought up about the mud valve, monthly maintenance, that type of thing, we need to put that into a schedule, but also look at our capital improvement in our budget.
Right.
We've gotta, it's all gotta be together, because if,
$1.2 million. That's
Yeah,
all we
that's
have.
all,
That's
and,
it. That's nothing.
prices,
Go
Water-
up all the time.
yeah, and
Yes, it
for-
is.
Yeah. So these things can be done, we just have to find, the most financially efficient way to get them done. And we have whatever else is in our capital improvement plan, that we're saving up for, so. Yeah, and
And we're gonna have to add to the capital improvement plan as,
Yeah.
there's, because, we have equipment that needs to be replaced, as it ages.
yes, yep. Okay. When is our next operations? Oh, wait, well, I guess
Yeah.
we need to set that schedule, so.
Right, yes, the next one, sorry. The next regular meet, it's, December 16th, isn't it?
December 12th at 9.
Oh,
December
sorry.
12th, so.
Okay.
We need to schedule one for October and November. If we're going to do this monthly, which
Okay.
we have agreed on, so
Right,
let's schedule.
okay,
Jillian, I think at the operating committee, they were discussing a regular Thursday afternoon. Is that correct?
At 1 o'clock, so at least we had that narrowed down. And it is the board, in approval of this, I mean, I know it's in
What's
the
the date?
suggestions, but.
What's the week you're thinking about?
Did we pick a week?
No, we didn't pick a
Thursdays were open, I think, for all of us but we wanted them earlier in the day at 1 o'clock, so.
So it'd be, if you did the second Thursday as you did in September, it'd be Thursday, October 9th, Monday, the 13th.
Just what was the December meeting that's already scheduled? That was,
That's the
December
12th, but
the
that's
12th.
still on a Friday at 9, so if
Yeah.
you want to change that.
to the December 11th. How about November 11th? Well, that, we can't do that because that's Veterans Day.
So it'd be December,
Wouldn't it be November 13th?
yeah,
13th, okay, and then October,
9th.
there isn't,
The meeting hall should be free at that time. If it's not, I'll let you know.
Is it okay that the October meeting is after the board meeting? That's still okay?
yeah,
Okay.
oh, wait a minute, board, because I'm sure we're going to, well,
Yeah.
potentially
now,
schedule
yes, we
more
gotta-
board meetings.
Right, we have an October 6th board meeting. And we just, talked about all of this, at the meeting we had on the 11th. Of what was going to go to the October meeting on the 6th from the operations committee.
Right, and then you'll have an operating committee on the 9th to bring more.
Yeah, so, okay.
I think it's okay.
I'm just looking here. Yeah, it looks, it's fine.
So if there's agreement of the board, I'll post these.
Yeah, and then Ryan is just gonna have to fit it in his schedule, whatever we agree. Cause he's,
Yeah, the members are you, Ryan, and well, Jeff and Andrea, as well as others.
okay. Everybody in agreement? For those
Yes.
dates at 1 o'clock. Thank you. Okay, then, are we complete with this discussion for,
Right.
okay, let's move on to J3 closed session. Clerk Flintoff, could you please read?
Sure, at the request of our LASA attorney who has prepared a memo for our review, I would like to make a motion to go into closed session to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute as authorized by MCL 15.268 subsection 8. This requires a roll call vote and 2/3 of the members serving.
Before you do that, real quick, so you can add it to your discussion.
I don't know if we can, I don't know what the closed session entails, so we can
Well,
only.
just want to know if it's worth us to stay here, if you would have any kind of decision. And I also wanted to see if Michigan Power Rotting could get permission to look at the sewage where the obstruction was. If they could get that televised somehow, because Mike from M&K, when I spoke with him last week, he was grossly misinformed. He thought sewage was spurting out of my toilet. And I had to, so I felt like he didn't know anything, and what I wanted to see was M&K's bills, the televised video, and the report from when they jetted the obstruction out of our line. And I trust Michigan Power Rotting, and they would, if they had permission to view that, that would give me some more confidence that the root of the tree that went into the line was fixed.
Is that the insurance company's purview?
I don't know.
Okay, I wrote this down.
Go into closed session to consider material exempt from state or federal,
Yeah,
disclosure and
I
entertainment
think
of all
this
this
is a
stuff.
FOIA issue.
Is it appropriate to bring up to consider in closed session?
The scope of what's discussed in closed session will be the scope of the memo. No decisions will be made in closed session. As to Andrea's other question about if we anticipate coming back into open session and taking any action, I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know what it's about.
I'm sorry, I can't say.
Okay.
Normally, sometimes we do know, and I don't want to make you hang out.
Okay, something for you.
I'm sorry.
It's the main rules. Stakeholder support, you listening?
Okay, well, we need to, is there?
So I'll repeat.
The motion?
I've made a motion. There has not been a seconder.
I'll second. And roll call, please.
Dorney,
Aye.
Brabant,
Aye.
Harms,
Aye.
Flintoff, aye. Carrie.
Aye.
Motion adopted 5-0. We're now in closed session at 4:44 PM. I'd ask board members, we'll go to the small conference room. Members of the public, you're welcome to hang out if you wish. We'll return here to be in open session. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Recording in progress.
I am unmuting the room.
Great. Is, turn your microphones on, please, so it picks up in the, all right, is there a motion to come out of closed session at 5:32?
So move.
Come out of closed session.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Okay,
I think we're closed.
yeah, we're just at public comments, and
There's nobody here.
this is, there's nobody here in person. Anybody online for public comments?
If you'd like to speak, please raise your Zoom hand. I see none.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn at 5:33?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, I'll, yes, hey.
Yes. See what's gonna happen.
You're in a tough position.
Well, I still have to speak up for LAIA because that's what they're telling me to do.
I know.
Yes, it's true.